The Christian publishing world is an enigma. It is partially a subculture of the entire publishing world, but it is an entity to itself also. It didn't always used to be that way, but right now Christian publishing is so huge, and a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, okay, if I want to break into publishing, I'll start writing religious books because that's so easy, and yet the competition is horrendous. And because Christian publishing has gotten more professional, therefore the requirements are tighter, so it's really not easier to break into. It is a subculture in that it's part of the publishing world. It's under its own umbrella, and it adheres to a lot of the same laws and bylaws that any publishing part of the world does, but it is very much an entity to itself in that it has a specific agenda, and that is to, however you do it, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, whatever it may be, writing for children, writing for adults, you have a specific purpose of proclaiming the gospel to one degree or another. It may be very subtly, it may just be sort of an add-on icing to the cake type thing, but it's there, it's woven in. You're probably, if you're going to be picking up a Christian book, going to think, well, I don't expect to find a lot of profanity or nudity or maybe not too much violence or that sort of thing. There are specific parameters, and pretty much that's what I work within because that's where I feel called to be. That is my purpose, that's my agenda, and I am purpose-driven in what I write. So for that reason, I would say Christian publishing is, for the most part, an entity to itself that has its own parameters and guidelines, and you tend to stay inside of them if you want to be successful there. Things have changed drastically, and therefore there's so much to choose from where there didn't always used to be. Just as there are many Christian denominations, and each have hopefully the same basis in that we all believe in the same Jesus. Beyond that, there could be just a plethora of differences. I may not agree with much of anything from someone from this church over here, this denomination over here, except the very basics, and therefore we find a point of equal fellowship at that place. It's the same with Christian writing. Under that Christian umbrella of publishing, there's a lot of variety, and there may be a lot of viewpoints. There may be some very liberal, some very conservative, and everything in between, but we have that one same commonality at the very center of it, which is that we're writing because we believe in who Jesus is. I have been involved in Christian publishing for nearly 3 decades, and I've really learned a lot and grown a lot during that time. I have been excited about some of the changes I've seen come, in that I think it has required us to do a better job. We've all had to hone our craft and become more professional in the way we present it. I really went in kicking and screaming to all the marketing and publicity stuff, because there was a time Christian publishers and Christian authors had nothing to do with agents or publicists or marketing experts. We didn't do any of those things. We wrote a book, we turned it in, we were done with it. And in fact, it was almost anathema to even think about promoting ourselves. Oh my goodness, I have to be humble. I can't do that. I don't have business cards. I don't do any of those things. So all that has changed, and now that I've understood that and gotten on board with what I have to do, because I understand now, okay, I can write the greatest book in the world, but if nobody knows it's there, nobody's going to read it, and it doesn't do any good. So I have gotten on board with that, and now I've become sort of a marketing guru to a lot of people online, which is great. I'm really enjoying that part, although it takes away from my writing time a lot. But the changes have been good, although we've resisted a lot of that, and some of us have said, oh, it's becoming too much of business and not enough of a ministry. I think ultimately it has succeeded in producing better products, higher quality materials, and for that I'm really grateful.